Squad Zero or the Royal Guard. Before Kubo revealed the squad and the requirements for a Shinigami to join it, the general idea among fans was that a Shinigami had to be extremely powerful, with strength being the primary criterion for joining this special squad. However guys, when Squad Zero appeared in Thousand Year Blood War arc and more information about them was disclosed, it became evident that strength alone was not the main requirement, but other significant qualifications was necessary. And nevertheless, some questions remain about certain characters and why they didn't join Squad Zero. And among these characters is Yamamoto Ginryusai. Lucky us, we have now an answer from Kubo regarding this matter. Kubo's explanation not only clarifies why Yamamoto didn't join Squad Zero, but also sheds light on something important I have discussed in previous videos about the history before the GOT 13. And so this fan says, wasn't there an attempt to recruit Yamamoto into Squad Zero? Considering that creating the GOT 13 is a significant accomplishment. Here Kubo answers that the establishment of the GOT 13 wasn't considered a major achievement in the Soul Society's history, since the concept of organized forces already existed before. Therefore, there was no reason to summon him to join Squad Zero. And as you can see guys, what made this fan wonder why Yamamoto wasn't part of Squad Zero is the concept Kubo introduced in the Quincy arc about joining Squad Zero. That concept is that every member of Squad Zero has created something that changed something in the Soul Society's history. And because of this fan considered the GOT 13 a significant achievement, especially since the original GOT 13 was the reason behind the defeat of Yhwach and his army 1,000 years ago. Not only that, but the GOT 13 as an organization expanded to become a large system consisting of captains, vice captains, and officers tied to the academy, which became the primary source of Shinigamis. However, Kubo mentioned something important in his answer. The GOTE wasn't something unprecedented. In other words, system like the GOTE existed in the past, as I always wanted to know what kind of system the Shinigami operated under before the establishment of the GOTE 13. How did they organize themselves in combat? There must have been some kind of structure. That's why I really wish Kubo can do or create a flashback arc about the original GOT 13 and how it was founded. So through such an arc we would learn many things, including the nature of the Serity before the GOT 13. Were there other organizations before the GOTE? Was Yamamoto part of them? And what was the reason Yamamoto decided to create the GOTE in the first place? And we know that Yamamoto founded the Shinigami Academy 2000 years ago. From Yamamoto's conversation with Sasakibi 2000 years ago, it was revealed that Yamamoto had students and disciples studying under him, and surely some of them became Shinigami. However, even with that, none of them were part of the GOTE Yamamoto established for 1,000 years. And as we know that Kyoraku no Kichake were the first to graduate from the academy and became captains in the GOTE. And for sure we know that they became captain after the first Quincy War. So the original GOTE 13 were described as a group of killers and criminals. And a prime example of their nature is Unohana Yachiro, who was to be the most notorious criminal in the Soul Society. And that's why I think the nature of the GOTE 13 or the first generation, I don't think they were the same as the academy that Yamamoto established. So I think either the criminals like Unohana pose a problem for the Serity, leading Yamamoto to decide that instead of fighting them, he would gather them into one squad, which later became the GOTE 13. Or perhaps Yamamoto simply didn't see the value in the systems that preceded him, and decided to form a squad made up of members, some of whom were his own men or friends. Because as we can see in the flashback of Sasakibi, Yamamoto has his own men. It mentioned that after Yamamoto received his first scar, one of his men started calling him Ijisai. But I don't think the second possibility is possible, and personally I go with the first one, that the old man was waging a war against some of the early leaders like Unohana and the others, and with his strength and personality convinced them to join him. And as I said, I know I'm asking for something almost impossible and I don't think Kubo will do it. But just imagine a flashback telling how Yamamoto gathered the original GOTY 13 members, and we have each chapter could focus on a specific captain and how Yamamoto met them and convinced them to join him. It would be the perfect opportunity to learn about their personalities, their Zanpakuto abilities, and more. Anyway guys, another note is that Kubo's answer made it clear that joining Squad Zero isn't primarily about strength, otherwise Yamamoto would have been the first to join the Royal Guard. Instead, it became evident that a member must have achieved something fundamental in society, something that changed the history. However guys, if you think deeply about this condition, it seems somewhat strange. As I said at the start of the video, if there is a king, the logical thing is that he should be guarded by the strongest persons, and strength alone would be the primary criterion for joining. But as we see, the matter involves the Shinigami having made a revolutionary invention in the society. And this leads me guys to support the theory that this requirement exists to bring Shinigamis whose inventions could potentially threaten the safety or the security in the royal palace. How is that? I mean, just imagine if Nimaya, the one who invented the Asauchi, decided to be on the opposite side to the Shinigami in the Ryu. This would be catastrophic, as it would deprive the Shinigami of their primary weapon in combat and defense, the Zanpakuto. And the same goes for Kirinji, who invented the healing techniques, Kaido. He too could prevent Shinigami from learning the most effective methods for healing their injuries. Thus guys, it's possible that this requirement for selecting members based on their game-changing inventions is simply a way to prevent their creations from falling into enemies' hands that could endanger the Shinigami. That's why some suggest that the reason for inventing the 7th Kinpachi, for example, to join was to neutralize the threat posed by his Bankai, which could be considered an extraordinary weapon capable of destroying an entire city like the Serity. Of course, this invitation was only in the novels, especially since Kubo confirmed that Squad Zero can only consist of 5 members. However guys, the idea of the 7th Kinpachi's Bankai reminds me of what happens with Zero Squad members. They have what's called a blood oath, which prevents them from using their Bankai at once, to avoid affecting the realms. Of course, Ichibi is not with them, but I see Squad Zero's laws ultimately seem to serve Ichibi and the nobles in the end. So what do you think guys about Kubo's answer and why Yamamoto wasn't with Squad Zero? Tell me guys what you think in the comments and see you guys in my next video.